everyone, I'm Anna. Today we are going to be exposing and debunking 4 common study myths. Recently, I was doing an internet search to find some evidence-based tools to help maximize my own learning process, and I was surprised to come across hundreds and hundreds of tips that one seemed downright unhelpful or that went completely against scientific principles that we know to be true with how the brain receives and stores information. I thought that it would be really interesting to compile a list of some of these study myths based on some of the blog posts and opinion pieces that I was reading, as well as based on my own experience as a nursing student and nursing instructor. While I'm sharing these myths from a nursing context, know that these study myths apply to many different areas of studying. So whether you're in nursing school or not, I think you'll find this video really interesting and helpful. Now, some of these myths may seem controversial or even inaccurate at face value, but I would encourage you to stick with me and hear the logic behind the facts. I also realize that while everyone's brains are wired very similarly at a fundamental level, there of course are different nuances that will determine how a person learns or studies best. So keep all those things in mind as we go through this video. The first myth is that you should just follow the study guide when preparing for an exam. The fact is that study guides rarely cover everything you need to know for a high level of success on an exam. You shouldn't study the study guide, you should instead follow the course syllabus. Everything in the syllabus and on the course schedule is fair game for an exam. This includes all the additional assigned readings, lectures, and videos that they provided for you at the beginning of the semester. The tough reality is that successful students start studying early and they have a very comprehensive approach to studying for exams. And we can all think of those times when we only studied the study guide and additional information just magically appeared on the exam that we were taking. And this fact also directly applies to real-life nursing practice. You want to be the safest possible practicing nurse, and that means that you need a good knowledge of all the material you studied in nursing school so that you can safely apply it to practice as a nurse. Plus, you never know what information will surface again on the NCLEX RN exam. The second myth is that rewriting lecture notes will help reinforce exam ideas. This is not true because studying in this way minimally engages your brain and gives your brain no practice with active recall, which is how your brain pulls information out of storage when you're taking a test. Rewriting your notes is actually one of the most passive types of studying out there. Active recall is actually how instructors assess your knowledge in an exam, as you're required to pull information out of storage and apply it to a particular situation. It's necessary to practice studying in this way so that your brain knows how to perform when you're taking an examination. If writing things out helps you sort information, an idea that you might try could be to make index cards where you leave out key pieces of information on the prompts of the card and have the correct answers on the back. This will help your brain work its recall muscle as you're being forced to remember the answer, and this will prepare you well for the exam. The third myth is to fit studying into pockets of time you have throughout your day. The fact is that while this kind of studying may be helpful to review or go through the index cards we just mentioned, having a few minutes or an hour here and there throughout your day rarely cuts it if you are responsible for a vast body of knowledge for an exam. Successful students treat studying like a full-time or a part-time job. They've scheduled big blocks of time throughout their week to study. I find a lot of truth in the saying that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Successful nursing students make a study plan that works for them. Some students make their study schedule at the beginning of the week, and other students treat studying more like a class time at a specific time each week. Blocking off a specific amount of time at a predetermined location provides accountability and structure for the study sessions ahead. The fourth and final myth is to identify your learning style early on and stick to it. The fact is that your studying should adapt to the type of material you're learning versus trying to make the material adapt to your learning style. For example, in nursing specifically, studying is frequently executed as do and draw. This may look like physically performing the steps of a procedure or a task, or drawing out a mind map or a flow diagram of a certain mechanism or specific pathway that you need to know. Even if you're more of a verbal learner versus a visual or tactile learner, once you've grasped the details of the diagram or the pathways, you can then translate that into verbal cues that enable you to remember the information better. I hope that you found these somewhat counterintuitive facts interesting and helpful as you look for ways to improve and maximize your studying. If you're looking for reading to further maximize the learning process and be the most efficient studier possible, I would highly recommend the book Learn Like a Pro by Barbara Oakley. This is a fantastic read that provides science-based tools to help you become more successful and productive in your learning. If this video was interesting or you learned something, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel to not miss any nursing content from me in the future.